And we're back, guys. I'm your host, Good Energy. Welcome to Tennis After Dark because we're going to take a look at the matches from today. And I want to take a look at a match here in Paris. That's right, bonjour, comment allez-vous? We have Harriet Dart, the Brit, taking on Katie Bolter. Ooh, her boyfriend's in some deep trouble. You guys hear about that story, Alex? I might cover that. There's a lot of stories I want to talk about this weekend. I may be able to get to them, but we're going to take a look at France here. Bolter's the number two seed. The number one seed is Emma Navarro. And while we're talking about this tournament here, I want to talk about pay one more time. So, for example, this is a 125K. It's a 32 player tournament. If you qualified for the tournament, excuse me, or if you received an invitation to this tournament, like Emma Navarro, she's the number one seed, you are rewarded $1,000. Not a lot of money, right? When you factor in taxes, might be lucky to get half of that, right? Facility fees, 40% of that, maybe. If you make it out of the round of 32 to the round of 16, then you receive $1,700. If you make it to the quarterfinal, you receive $3,400. Not a lot of money, guys, and again, just assume that the players are getting half of that, for fees, different types of, taxes that apply. You have to pay your coach. That's if you can afford a coach to travel with you. Again, flight costs, transportation costs, hotel, food costs, medical costs, your normal household costs. There's so many fees associated with tennis. And again, we're kind of referencing the Camilla Giorgi story where I think she's just a typical victim of a system here that just doesn't pay its players fairly. Now, when we're talking about, I'm not bringing up the issue that the ladies should get the same pay as the men. That's not my riff, okay? Because the ATP, it's a different organization. You can't compare organizations and in terms of pay. That's like saying the WNBA players deserve to make the same amount as the NBA players. That's ludicrous, okay? Because the NBA, it's a profit machine. It's been around 50 years longer. They've built up a solid fan base, and their revenue is according to the fans that support it. The WNBA, it's a much smaller organization. They can't afford to pay that, right? So that's not the argument. But by the way, since Caitlin Clark joined the WNBA, they're making this big, you know, news story that the players and the teams now they're traveling now on, private flights. But the truth to that story is only 40% of the teams are. So they released this big press story that all the players are traveling in style now. They have these videos where the players are on the planes, they have their beverages, their food, you know, their chairs are reclined, they're relaxing on these flights. But no, Brianna Stewart, who is a huge WNBA star, she came out and said, no, no, that's not true. Only like half of the teams even have those opportunities. The others are still traveling the same way, which is commercial flights and, buses. It's horrible. So, again, not comparing the WNBA to the NBA or the WTA to the ATP, but we are saying that, look, this is what I would do if I were running the WTA. This is what I would do. They made $114 million last year. They got tons of write-offs because they're 501c. I would take 10 million aside, okay? $10 million, and the top 100 players are going to get a $100,000 bonus. That's right, the top 100 players. That's enough money to take. And look, again, the elite players, Coco, the Igas of the world, the Sabalenkas, they've been on tour consistent for so long. They're they're rich. Iga said she's got Porsches out the yin yang, you know? So that's not an issue. But for the players that need it, it's going to go a long way. The WTA has to do something like this because I just think that, when you're kind of in that mid level, that's those are the players that struggle. I mean, we're going to talk about Vika today, right? We're going to talk about Victoria Azarenka. She needed a sponsor, and even with a sponsor, she had tons of financial trouble. This is a main star, guys. She had financial trouble, okay? All of these players at one point have had issues. Rebecca has had issues. And just because you have a sponsor doesn't mean you're out to clear. They want their money back. They want their investment back. So the sport, there's a long, and I'm not going to go into a lot of this stuff, but it gets a lot deeper than you think, okay? And the reality here is the WTA's got to do something because these players have been speaking up. And yes, Novak and Ons, they're leading the way. They're doing great things, and they're going, or they've already started to get a lot of benefits for players. But I'm just saying, I just think the WTA, they can afford it. Set $10 million aside, make the Saudis pay for it. If they want to host the WTA finals, whoever wants to host it, $10 million, put it in the contract and set it aside for the top 100 players. What's going to happen? You're going to have players that are outside the top 100. That's already competitive as it is because they're trying to make the slams because that's how they make their money, right? The US Open, you get to the slam, I forget the costs, but what? Even qualifiers, they're paid good in qualifiers. This is why the slams they're so exciting. They make good money at the slams. Okay, but that's just 4 tournaments. The rest of the year, and look, you gotta win. You gotta get out of the first round. You get out of the first round, a couple round, that'll take care of your year. Which is why the players that have been on tour for a while, they're all set. But you take someone like Camilla Giorgi, and I've talked about this in the past. She has had the toughest draws at the slams. I've been bringing this up for the longest. Her draws at the slams, I'm like, poor Georgie. Like, why are they picking on her? Her draws have been super duper tough. And it's like she's that type of star where she's right in the middle of the pack. She's always bounced out in the first round of the slams because she has such tough draws. She's not making any money. You have to win matches at slams. I mean, I saw Georgie at the Indian Wells. She was just so upset. She never smiles. She's out. She's one and done at all these tournaments. Yes, she can win a 250 here, but, I just think the WTA's got to pay the players a little bit more. Find ways to increase revenue. And it's really about the TV deal. I mean, I was looking at Tom Brady, who signed a $375 million TV contract. For crying out loud, that's more than what the WTA makes in what, 3 years? That's crazy. At least the last 2 years, because the year, the 21 year, if I'm not mistaken, they made more than what they made last year, which was interesting. So it's like they're losing money. So, and we're back and said it. Look, they're going backwards. That's why they're taking this deal in Saudi. They need the money, but nonetheless, they are profitable. And channels like this is growing the sport. And I'm going to tell you, I don't think it's just an issue. Like I said, time and time again, I think the WTA in the next 3 to 5 years, they're going to get that big TV contract. Part of the issue is they got their own network. I mean, they have their own tennis network, and they really need to get back to when I remember watching Serena on CBS and, NBC. So it's like they have to get in. And occasionally, yeah, the slams, US Open, you'll see their matches on ESPN, but they need a big TV deal. And I think it's going to come. Channels like this bringing the sport to over 100,000 telephones and computers a week, it's going to grow the sport. All right, that's my little rant. Harriet Dart and Katie Bolter. The last time these two played was a little bit, it was a little chippy at the net. I guess Dart felt that Bolter was celebrating a bit, and she said, "Look, she knows her. They know each other. I mean, they're both Brits. Listen, Bolter's a huge favorite. She hasn't performed well on clay. She's barely 500 on clay, 11 and 10, and Dart's not, she doesn't have a great record on clay, but she's at least got, two times the experience on clay as Bolter. And Dart beat some good competition on clay this season. We saw her make, I want to say Madrid, right? She took out Sasnovich, and she took out Timofeva, who's played very well. We saw her make the Australian Open main draw. And Bolter, we saw her in a tough match against Robin Montgomery, right? And I also told you to fade her against Shramkova, who's just playing very well. This is a match here where I think Bolter's overrated. So we're going to take Harriet Dart on the alternate spread. I think Dart covers 6.5, and I think Dart wins a set. So that's two picks. I just don't see Bolter's level that much better than Dart to where she should be such a huge favorite, especially since he hasn't looked good. And her boyfriend's in some trouble. Big Mama Asta taking on Sabalenka. This is going to be a good match. Asta's never beat Sabalenka. Now, yeah, I mean, Saba can do everything Asta can do. She probably moves a little bit better, but and actually, I'm not going to say that. I think Asta moves a lot better than Sabalenka. Asta was covering a lot of drop shots against Shramkova, and she looks good. The stare down she gave Shramkova after chasing down that short ball, she'll give you a stare down like, don't you dare do that again. Much like Queen went against Coco today. I just felt bad for Queen when she kept being forced to the short ball. She had no answer, and sometimes she thought she came with the slice across the short. She came with the slice across the court. It was working. She's got a good slice. She's got a decent drop shot, but Coco's defense is just, she's too fast, guys. And I've been telling you this when I've been grading the fastest players. The reason I've been telling you that is I'm trying to let you guys and make you guys aware that you can't teach speed. And as these ladies start to age, a lot of the dominant players, they're in their mid 20s. And look, players, Father Time is undefeated. As you get up there in age, you start waking up with, tennis is a grueling sport. And I do want to talk about some of these other stories because a lot of players are very frustrated with the tour. And I try not to get into all of these, like, I don't know if you guys are aware. There's so much drama in tennis right now. I try not to get into all these stories because the reality here is I would much rather give players their flowers and focus on all these just drama stories every day. It's just, I just don't want to focus on it. I just want to focus on the matches, the stats. That's what I enjoy doing. But there's a lot going on. I probably will start covering it. And players are starting to speak up more than ever. It's just, there's way too much drama in tennis right now, guys. It's insane. And, you know, I just feel that Jelena, she adds to that element as well. I mean, she talks a lot of junk when she's playing, though. She's yelling, she's screaming, she's challenging authorities, she's intimidating her players, her opponents rather, and she's yelling at her mom, her husband. I did a poll last year in the community who's perceived as the worst player on tour with the worst attitude. So the players in question was Jelena Ostapenko, Sabalenka, Putintseva, and Potapova. Now, Potapova, like I said, I give her a pass because I don't think she can control herself. I really don't think she can help herself. I just think she's that passionate in her abilities that she just snaps. Marta, as of recent, she's just out of control, guys. Like her matches are just so drama full. I just don't To some extent, I don't even like watching it because you're just watching someone that just can't control themselves and is just so disrespectful to her camp. There's a level of I feel Potapova really honestly can't control herself, right? Marta, I just kind of get the feeling she's doing it for attention, and I feel like she knows better. Potapova, I just you can tell she can't control herself. Jelena, there's a fine line between she does it for attention, and I think she does, especially with the challenges, she does it to catch her breath. She's very slick. She uses it to recover. She's very slick, and I watch her very closely with that. But she does it for attention, but she also has an element to her that you can tell. She came up being a great tennis star. She's used to getting what she wants, and she throws these fits when she doesn't get her way. So part of Yelena is like I also see she can't really control it because she's dealing with something, a little bit entitlement there. Sabalenka, I feel she's kind of turned the corner. She's a lot more mature. She's showing those signs of maturity, and I think that's great. She's showing that she's a woman now, right? She's much more classier than before, but she used to be out of control. Of the ladies, I think, honestly, I think that I think Marta's probably the worst this year. She really is. She's bad. If you watch her matches, she's very bad. Sabalenka hasn't been that bad lately, and I think that's because she's going through so much tragedy. She's not really she's not all there. I mean, I feel for Sabalenka. She's been dealt some bad cards, and she's doing the best she can. And I think the friendship with Paula Badosa has really helped her a lot. You need good friends, and I think Paula Badosa has been a great support system for Sabalenka. They do a lot together, so that's nice to see. But this match here, guys, I think Sabalenka's overvalued. Now, I don't want to focus on the injury because she does have the best care. I mean, look, they can give her a shot. She could play this match without feeling any pain, and she'll feel it after, just not during the match. So I don't want to focus too much on the injury. But Sabalenka is going to be up against the same type of intensity that she dishes out. And that's how you get injured. We saw Iga Swiatek injured last year. And what was that? It was Madrid, right? Or was it Rome? No, I think it was Rome. Yeah, it was Rome where Elena Rybakina took her out, man. Those powerful ground strokes, Iga had, and I told you last summer, Iga was bulking up because of that. Those powerful ground strokes and those strong players, they make you play bigger. And if you're not comfortable playing bigger, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to get injured. This is the type of match where Sabalenka's going to have to play big. Right? She's not going to be the person there just dominating these exchanges. Yelena's going to dish it back. That's where I get a little concerned knowing that she's not 100% healthy. Now she's got to play stronger and bigger. That's when injuries happen. My pickers, I like Yelena's to win at least a set, right? She's a 3-1 underdog plus. I like her to win a set. I think she can win this match outright. But I told you guys, take her to win a set. That is the pick. And if you don't want to take her to win a set, take her to plus 6.5 games. Two picks there. Finally, last match of the day, we got Viktoria Azarenka and Danielle. The head-to-head is 1-1. Look, Collins is playing good. She's walking away with a nice retirement package. She won Miami $1 million. She won Charleston $500,000. It's a lot of money right there, and she is going to make it to the Olympics. She is going to make every slam that's remaining, the French Open, Wimbledon. She's going to make the U.S. Open, where I think she's going to have a great run there. And she's going to make, if she keeps it up, the yearly finals, where she'll have a chance to take home up to, I don't know, what, $15 million, the record prize money this year, something like that. This is a match here where Danielle's got a fastball, but I like the movement of Vika on clay. She's very strategic. She's going to isolate some of that power from Danielle by going to topspin. Danielle's going to come back with more flat balls. Vika's going to hit the tee. She's going to hit the corner. She's going to make Danielle work. She's going to jam the body on the serves. Vika's going to hit drop shots. She's very good with the drop shot. You saw her just destroy the other day with the drop shot, Zachary. Danielle's going to have to work because Vika's going to throw the kitchen sink at her. Danielle's the favorite in this match. I like Vika. I'm going to take the huge spread plus 6.5 games with Vika. I think you got to go with Vika. I think Vika can win a set. I think she can win the match. But I'm going to take the games with Vika and enjoy the match. I think Vika's going to do well here. She's got a good chance to make the semifinal. And if she plays Jelena Ostapenko, Vika's going to be in the championship. If she plays Sabalenka's that's interesting because you guys remember at the U.S. Open a few years ago, Vika, she really talked bad about Sabalenka, and I bring this up because this is what not to do, guys, and this is what's happening with Coco. You have this Eastern media, they're putting out gibberish, and it's people that they're not watching these matches. And some of them are, but a lot of it's propaganda. I think they're trying to, they know Coco's so big. They're trying to bring attention to some of these other players and kind of exclude Coco because she's so big. I think it's a little bit of a jealousy thing. It has to be. But it's gibberish, guys. You can't be excluded from a big three when you own the head-to-head with the two players they're talking about. When you had the best year in tennis. When you set the most records as a teenager out of everyone in the top 10. Like when you compare the last 3 seasons, the numbers are neck and neck. What are we comparing, guys? Like the last week of tennis. Like, come on, this is ludicrous. Points accumulate for 365 days. Tennis is not like any other sport, okay? Any other sport, 365 days will span a completely different set of metrics. In tennis, it's a running system with points giving the champs the opportunity to defend and reclaim their points in championships. Okay? It's complete gibberish. Because when you look at the elite of the game, the first thing you do is you look at standings. Tennis is the type of sport where you cannot ignore rankings because rankings is achieved by winning matches and championships. You can't disregard someone for winning a slam and having to go through 3 slam champs, 2 top 30 players. Like, it's crazy. That is just the most biased thing I've ever heard. When you talk about electrifying, you're talking about one of the most electrifying players in the history of the sport, the most popular player in the sport, the highest earner in the sport, and you're just gonna just say, hey, oh no, that's crazy, right? It's crazy. You know how good you have to be able to make it to a grand slam at 15, dominating the juniors? That's like LeBron James going to pro from high school. That's not a fluke. That's the real deal, ladies and gentlemen. And a lot younger, that's crazy. Anyway, I think Vika is going to cover the alternate spread. I'll take the 6.5 games. And she's going to learn, like I said, if Sabalenka comes through and she wins Vika, I think Sabalenka's going to punish her again. You cannot say you are better than someone in an interview. You do not want to talk that type of trash. Not in this world, which is why I've been saying for a long time, when Coco grows up, she's going to kick these ladies' butt. You saw Coco get beat up as a teenager, 15, 16, coming on tour. But once, and that's because she just didn't have the strength. She was much more defensive counterpuncher. Once she started bulking up, and she came into this season bigger than ever. She did. I noticed she lost some of that muscle. Maybe she didn't feel uncomfortable. Maybe she felt uncomfortable because I noticed she didn't have as much speed. And that's what happens when you bulk up and get stronger. You're going to lose speed. But she started the season off 10-0 with that power, and she wasn't making all those double faults when she had that power. I noticed she lost a little bit of that weight and that muscle, and that's when the double faults came because she's still trying to go big on the serve. But Sabalenka has destroyed Azarenka since he made those comments. As you heard what Azarenka said, she said, "Yeah, I'm just better than her." She said, "Yeah, we're from the same country, but I don't really know her." Oh, she was just talking trash about Sabalenka. It's like, yeah, I don't really know her, but yeah, I've seen her around, wow. She was talking reckless. And she won that match, yeah, but Sabalenka since then destroyed Vika. But that's it, guys. Enjoy the picks, like the video, show some love. We'll be back.